Hello guys, welcome back. So far we have worked on many features like user search, user list, and user profile page display. We have also edited the user's description and personal details using TurboStream and allowed users to perform CRUD operations on their work experiences, send and accepted connection request, and listed all users connections along with their mutual connections. Okay, we have enforced users to be authenticated at some places. For example, if you want to edit the details or personal information or create work experience or want to edit or update your work experience, then you must be signed in. Okay, but in this lecture we will enforce all users to be signed in before accessing anything in the system. I mean, if a user wants to do anything in the application, such as searching for users or visiting other users profile pages, they must be signed in first in our application. Now one might wonder that why I am making this change now, and I'm making this change now because there may be some chances in any application where you need to make changes during the development, but you need to handle this change with existing code locations. And now in our case, for this lecture, making this change is very simple. You just need to place the authenticate user filter action in the application controller and remove it from all other controllers. However, this is not enough. You also need to change most of the places in your code where you are checking whether user is signed in or not. Okay, with this simple change, I would like to emphasize that if we make any changes to an existing feature, we must update all the related code locations. Okay, so enough talking. Now let's make this change. So first switch to the project directory and now open the application controller. Okay, and now open the connections controller, members controller, and work experiences controller. Here you can see that we are using this common callback in all actions, that is before action authenticate user. In members controller we are also using before action authenticate user, and in connections controller we are also using before action authenticate user. Okay, so now what we can do, we can define this callback within the application controller. Okay, save it. And since all other controllers like connections, members, and work experiences are inherited via application controller. Okay, so now what we can do, that we can remove this callback from all other controllers. Okay, so let's remove this before action call authenticate user callback, and remove this from work experiences controller as well. Okay, and save everything now. So this is the change at the controller level. Okay, now what we need to do, that we need to check through all the view templates where we used the condition if user signed in. Okay, the device helper method to check whether user is authenticated or not, or whether user is signed in or not in the system. Okay, so go to the views first and check every view. So in this view we do not have that condition, in member description we do not have, and in this partial here you can see that what we are doing, if user signed in. Okay, now since we added this filter callback within the application controller, so a user cannot be able to perform anything if he is not signed in, so we can remove this part from this condition. Okay, so like what we can do, if user is not signed in, remove this. Now we just need to use user equal to current user. Okay, and similarly here you can see that we are also using the if user is signed in or not for checking the user's connection status. So what we can do, we can just keep this code, this piece of code outside this if user signed in condition, and you can remove this from here as well. Okay, and now you can see that we do not have user signed in check anywhere in this template. Okay, now see this personal info model. So here we do not have that condition, so we do not need to do anything here. Now you can see that in the connections.html we are not doing any if user signed in, so we can skip that as well. And now just go to the show.html.erb. So here you can see what we are doing, if user signed in and at the rate user equal to current user. So what you can do, you can simply remove this, that is user, sorry, if user at the rate current user. Now we can remove if user signed in, and similarly you can remove this check from here as well. Okay, so just to remove it and now check if further we have it. So we do not have this anything here. Okay, now you can check other templates, and now go to the header template. Here we have if user signed in, but we need to keep it here, we do not need to remove it. Why? Because if user is signed in, then he must be able to see the link to sign in. If user is not signed in, then sorry, if user is not signed in, then he must be able to see the link to sign in, and if he is signed in, then he can see these links. Okay, so we need this condition here, so we will not remove it from here. And now you can go to the work experiences template. So here we do not have any such condition, so we can skip that. And from the work experience partial, edit turbo stream .erb, new turbo stream .erb. Okay, so now we are all done. Now one can think that why I make this change in the application controller. Okay, because if we have this change here, then no matter at what action, if user try to perform it, he must sign into the system first. Okay, but might be possible that you have some situation where you want to skip that authentication. So in that case, what you can do, you can create further controllers. Let's say you can create a controller with name authentication controller and inherit it via application controller, and then mention this callback in the authentication controller and inherit all other controllers with that authentication controller. For example, let me show you by creating it. So create a new file in the app controllers and name it as authenticate controller.rb. Okay, now what you can do, class authenticate controller application controller. Okay, and now what you can do here, you can see you can just use this callback in this authenticate controller. And if you want to keep some actions as public, or if you want to if you want to keep some features as public, then what you can do, that you can just comment out this line from here, and now you can inherit all of the controllers with this authenticate controller. For example, this one, just copy it here, and here you can perform it like this. Okay, but now for now in this project I just want to keep all action as private, or all features as private. So if user want to perform anything, he must be sign in. So what I can do, that I'm just keeping this application controller for now, and I can remove this authenticate controller. Okay, but if you want to keep some actions as public, then you can do it. Okay, so for now in this lecture I'm just handling this filter action in the application controller. Okay, and that's it for this lecture. Now in the next lecture, what we will do, that you can see that we why right now we are using the faker generated users to get signed in into the system. Okay, and then we are performing all of the features. Now from next lecture, what we will do, that we will allow users to register in the system, just like you did do on the LinkedIn. Okay, so what user can do after having that registration page, that they can provide their personal details, and they can sign up in the system. Okay, and then we will allow them to log in with their regular login form, and we will also customize the login form as well, and we will also see how we can pass custom attribute in the device registration form. Okay, so till then, try this lecture at your end, and we will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care, and stay safe.